So the American media loves to misquote the Pope. They misquote Pope Francis probably because he's progressive and they try to understand or reframe, repackage things in the same old conservative ways that Catholicism has been presented and is entrenched in America. This time it's Pope saying that Ukraine should wave the white flag. The quote that I heard when they actually played the quote was the Pope saying that having courage, the courage of the white flag, the courage of surrender is important. He could have been implying Russia in that sense. Maybe it's more obvious if you hear the old interview that he implies Ukraine in that sense, which is wrong for him to do. Jesus is against war. I don't know how much the Catholic Church is against war. It seems like they did a few, helped a few along the way, and would have to kind of revise a lot of what they did if they're going to actually live up to Jesus' stance to be against war. Saying surrender is not necessarily Jesus' stance, although, Jesus is a pretty agreeable kind of guy, or could be agreeable, but only to the right things. You can't agree with something that's wrong. You can't agree with rolling over for Putin when Putin is the Antichrist. Putin's pretty evil. It would do a lot better if Pope Francis just called out Putin as the Antichrist. That would be key. Maybe he's a little too close to that too. So, the Church of Judas replaces all patriarchy Christianity, and this is one example of why. You can see how not that Catholicism was necessarily the strongest thing going in Ukraine. I think it's some type of orthodoxy there. But Zelensky and Ukrainians did not appreciate that suggestion, supposedly from Pope Francis. And churches break up all the time. They're going to split off and be at odds with each other over every sort of thing. The great thing about the Church of Judas is Judas points out, hey, if you were wrong about Judas, because Judas just did what Jesus asked him to, and Jesus tells Judas that he'll replace all other churches, meaning all the existing patriarchy churches we know of, Judas will replace them. And if we're wrong about Judas, what else are we wrong about? War, that's a big one. War, oppression, dominion, all these things. Basically, anything Trumper or evangelical. I'll put it this way. The Church of Judas replaces all patriarchy, Christianity, Trumpism, and war with a pro-sex love religion that Jesus wants. This is true. You can take this to the bank or to heaven, wherever you want to take it to. Take it to the bedroom. The point being that you can't have sex in Jesus' name. That's something that Jesus emphasizes in the Church of Judas, or in the Gospel of Judas, revealed 2006. But that implies that you can have sex and that sex is good, and that everything the church has done based on demonizing sex and original sin and all this crap, hell, all that stuff is just complete dangerous myth. It's not true. It's not Jesus. It's nothing at all. And it all needs to be reworked. Thankfully, that was all part of the plan Jesus instituted from the very beginning, where Judas, now that he's been revealed, replaces all those churches with the Church of Judas. And the Catholic Church, in this case, is just showing why. You don't pick sides in a war. The side is to be against war. That's Jesus' side. And Joe Biden recently told Netanyahu he's got to have a come to Jesus moment about stopping the Gaza genocide, which is ironic and hilarious, but you're both going to have a come to Jesus moment when you realize that Jesus is against war and working through Judas will undo not just all the other churches, but all the empires that those churches have been embedded in. So basically, we end war by ending the churches, ending the countries, and replacing them with Church of Judas, which is a different type of spirituality that respects other religions instead of trying to dominate and replace them, and connects other religions and other spiritualities. So, welcome to the Church of Judas. Now that you know about it, you can't leave. I mean, you can say that you're not in it, but you're in it. So, thanks, and you'll be happy to be in it, just like if you bought Bitcoin when it first came out. Get in on the ground floor. Thanks, Jesus. Thanks, Judas.